Hey everyone! This week I'm doing something very different with my video, so stay tuned. Now, if any of you follow my Tumblr or my Twitter, for the most part, you probably recognize that I get a lot of the same questions all the time. And I know that each of us think our situation is a little different because I'm doing this or I'm doing XYZ and I'm not doing this, but we're all kind of struggling with the same things. And so a lot of times my advice is very similar, even though the actual question is just a little different. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to answer some of those common questions that I get, so that if anybody is worried or you're concerned, or maybe even have a question pending in my Tumblr, because I get so many questions on Tumblr, holy geez. So it takes me a while, right? And I know many of you are like, did you get my question? I probably did, but I have like 350, so it takes me a little while. So the first question, number one. Oh, and before I even start, if you like this idea and you think this is good, just make sure to give me the thumbs up. I think it's down here, because then I'll make sure to do this again, because I get quite a few questions, as I'm sure you all know, and I'd be happy to answer them via video. So the first question, number one, is, do I have an eating disorder? If you think you have an eating disorder at all, if you're even wondering, the answer is probably yes. And I don't mean to be harsh or like, you all have eating disorders, because that's not really true. But if you purge, you have an eating disorder. If you abuse laxatives, you have an eating disorder. If you don't eat when your body tells you to, and you find yourself doing it when you're really stressed out, you do it even more, you have an eating disorder. If you find yourself going home and like planning binges, you have an eating disorder. So you probably have an eating disorder if you're asking me that question. I know that that sounds kind of mean, but it's the truth. If we're concerned, if we ever think, oh my gosh, I think I might, you probably do. So that's the answer to number one, okay? Now number two, the most common that I get after that one is, what kind of eating disorder do I have? Now, that can be a little tricky, but there are only 3 actual diagnoses in the DSM. Now, it may be different depending on the country you're in, but I don't actually think it is. I've looked into that a little bit, and I don't think there's any discrepancies. And those 3 are anorexia, bulimia, EDNOS. And if you don't know what either of those are, you can go back. When I first started doing videos a year ago, I did videos on all of these. And I know I also did them on binge eating disorder, which, annoying of all annoying, is not in the DSM. And the new DSM isn't going to have it in there, which is so, it just pisses me off. But it's still under EDNOS. So if you binge and purge, you have bulimia. If you restrict and you don't have your period and things like that, you have anorexia. Now, anorexia, you can also have purging type if you purge through exercise and stuff like that, which many of us do. Then that would fall under anorexia, binge purge type. Then there's EDNOS, and that catches everything else. So if our behaviors are changing all the time, then it's EDNOS. And I know that a lot of us feel frustrated because our eating disorders are different and they're not being recognized. And I'm pissed with you. I'm just as frustrated. But for now, that's what we have, and that's what the diagnoses are. Okay? So that was question 2. Now question 3. Okay, I think I'm sick. I'm pretty sure I have an eating disorder. What do I do? How can you help? I need some advice. Oh my goodness, right? So that one is probably, to be honest, probably the most common recently. I feel like I just answered some just a minute ago. But that is, it's pretty simple. And I know it's stressful. And I know a lot of times we're like, oh my gosh, I need help. And now what do I do? Because we don't know where to start. Number 1 is download my workbook. It's on my website. It's free. And I do plan on putting together something for self-harming, because I know many of you say, well, the workbook is for eating disorders, but you can interchange a lot of the ED just for SH, self-harm. And it works just the same. Because I'm sure many of you have realized, or if you suffer from both, that we use them almost in the same fashion. We use it as a way to cope with something bad, something overwhelming, and it's either a punishment or a release or whatever. And our eating disorder and our self-harm are kind of interchangeable. So the workbook to that end is kind of interchangeable, but I am working on stuff like that, just for the heads up about that. So download my workbook. And then look into seeing a therapist and or dietitian. Therapist first, dietitian second. Because I know dietitians don't always take insurance and it can be really difficult, but as you've seen with my videos with my friend Kate Machado, it's really important, and it's a huge portion of what our treatment team needs to be made up of. Okay, so we're gonna download my free workbook, then we're gonna look into seeing a therapist. And a great tip, and something that I've told many of you, a great way to find people and find therapists that actually specialize in eating disorders, call a local treatment center. All the ones I worked at, I'm trying to think. We had pages and pages of people we've referred to, and you cross them off if people don't like them, because people will call back and say, hey, you sent me out to see this person, they were terrible, blah, 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 right? So it's actually the best list you can get, and they will give it to you happily. They probably won't ask your name or anything like that. You're just getting help, and they're probably, I mean, I have picked up the phone at the clinics I worked at and given people referrals, so I was happy to help. I was glad they were reaching out. So do that. So give a call, because that's a great way to find out. And if you like this style, if you like these questions and stuff, give it a thumbs up. If I get plenty of thumbs up, I'll make sure to do these again on my most commonly asked questions. And don't forget to comment below. Just give some feedback as to what you like, what you don't like. And I guess today I'll start the comment feed, right? So I'll give you a question, you can answer it below. And this is just something because I know a lot of you asked this of me, and I think it'll be a great way for us to interact. And that question is, what was your first therapy appointment like? What'd they ask? How was it? I know it's uncomfortable, but was it really as bad as you thought it was gonna be? Or what was your first dietitian appointment like? What was your first appointment like? Answer below, because I know a lot of you get nervous, and that'll be a great way for you to get feedback and to help one another. So we all know it's not as scary as it really seems, okay? And keep checking back, because I'll keep posting videos as we work in 2013 towards a healthy mind and a healthy body.